Hello everyone, this is Crypto BitLaw back with another video for you today. This is going to be a quick overview of the recent DexTools exploit and the release of a fake MetaMask governance token that was ultimately rug pulled and resulted in a whole lot of users that aped into that token being scammed. So what we're going to do is we're going to give a general overview of the exploit and the rug pull, how it all played out, and then touch on whether there would be any legal liability for DexTools as a result of this exploit. So starting here, there was a good post by Kobe NFT on Twitter, which states, how did someone make a fake mask token, that's the MetaMask governance token, and scam hundreds of ETH by exploiting DexTools? And this is a thread. So we can see this was the actual entry on DexTools. They had a wrapped ETH pair for this fake MetaMask governance token and then a token contract address. So it starts here. Code was injected into the title and description of the token on DexTools, which the website executed, resulting in the token displaying a, quote, verified status. So we click here and we could see an example of some of the code that was ultimately injected, resulting in the fake verification on DexTools. So continuing on, down here it continues, DexTools has faulty coding. So their site showed the coin is legitimate and even had a pop-up showing that the coin was verified. And then here's a screenshot from DexTools that shows the wrapped ETH MetaMask pair for the fake token. A description is the fake MetaMask governance token. There's the verification ticker right here. And as you could see, the graph just kind of going parabolic, everybody seeing this token being released, thinking that they would be early adopters and just aping in without really doing any due diligence beyond seeing this verification on DexTools as it being a verified token and just assuming that that was good enough to infer that it was a legitimate project. Here's another example right here. This project is a verified token and then a community trust score. The thread continues, it states, after $1 million was bought of the token, sales were then locked and they'll likely tornado cash out of the money the same way that they tornadoed into the initial money to fund the liquidity on the liquidity trading pair. Here's an example, a screenshot from the honeypot detector website where it goes over the address for the fake MetaMask governance token, and it says, "Yep, it's a honeypot, GTFO." And I guess just touching on this, for those that are unaware, Tornado Cash, it is a privacy anonymity-based token, so you can get in and get out and transfer without being tracked as you would on a traditional immutable public ledger, like Bitcoin or Ethereum. I guess other examples would be something like Monero. It's a way to transact without being. The thread continues and then ultimately wraps up. It says, the DexTools app team has not responded to my messages so far, but this is a serious fault on their end. Remember to be careful while trading. And if you aren't sure of something, don't take the risk. So I guess in other words, DYOR. So there were other comments down below from people that got rugged by this scam. This guy, Sick May ETH, stated, I got rugged by this just now. Everything always seems obvious in hindsight. I will say the manipulation of the DexTools app UI coaxed me into buying it. That said, you should definitely assume nothing is safe until it's absolutely proven otherwise. And continuing deeper into this thread, people are pretty much giving him the business, saying it's common sense to actually check with the official MetaMask account for acknowledgement of a drop for this new token. But then people respond, you've heard of stealth launches, haven't you? And then the guy that was rugged said precisely. So I'm guessing a lot of these people, without even really doing due diligence, they just aped in, FOMO'd in, and assumed it was a stealth drop and, sacrificed security for gains. So then as we dig deeper down in the comments, we see people start to, rummage about who's at fault and where the liability would lie, which really ultimately got me thinking and why I'm making this video. As, there were some people that were calling for the liability to put on DexTools. I guess just starting out, this one person said, I think those that bought deserve a reimbursement. People lost a lot of money. Dex new UI was a fail and resulted in this. Therefore, we should be paid back. People are just kind of stating the obvious, like, dude, it's a Dex. And then the response, it's not a Dex. It's just named DexTools. It's pretty centralized, that being DexTools, the actual information site on the Dexes. That it acts as kind of like a price aggregator. Here's another one. This got me down bad. As others were saying, it seems obvious, but being so early with a verified ticker and pop-up made me FOMO hard. Honestly, rarely run into a verified ticker on DexTools, especially a pop-up. RIP any gains made 2022. And then we continue down here. This is where it really starts getting good. DexTools should be held accountable for vetting projects. Ethereum should have had more security to rug projects using their blockchain. Cybersecurity needed. Rugs are simple theft, and these chains should be held accountable through legal proceedings, class action suit. Okay, Cannabase NFT. I love it when all of these armchair lawyers come out of the woodwork and then just kind of start espousing all of this hearsay regarding whether or not someone could be liable for a lawsuit, or better yet, a class action, based on events that just transpired, without really knowing nothing about the legal standards that are required to even get there, let alone applying that law to the facts of each particular case. So, with this said, we're going to do a deeper dive into whether or not there would be any liability for DexTools on behalf of them in their actions or omissions related to this fact pattern. Before we go on, I thought that this was another good example. This was a post by Lindy Ape, which states, really depressing. Deuce tries to ape into a coin 7 times, upping the ante each time, fails each time, gets in his entire net worth on the last go. Coin was a fake MetaMask token. DexTools exploit, unsellable. What you're seeing here is a star going out. And you could see from the transaction history, this guy tries to send, it starts down here, he tries to send 12 grand worth of ETH. It fails, I'm assuming due to insufficient gas or slippage on the network. He tries again, keeps upping the ante, and eventually he finally gets it when he tops out. And he ends up sending, what, $24,000 worth of ETH and getting his rug pull token finally in the end. Sad. Here's an interesting reply of note by Rocky1307, whatever. He states, this fake scamming needs to stop. People losing their shirts here. I know I've lost half of my money and NFTs are gone, so it's easy for the thieves to pull scams here. There's no fear of being charged with a crime, so the thieves have free reign to paint the town. And that fear of criminal repercussions, that's going to come up a little bit later. So I just kind of wanted to note at least that sentiment is out there. And we'll touch on that in a little bit. So let's start discussing the legal ramifications of this rug pull. In the legal system, there are 2 systems of law. There is civil law and criminal law. Criminal law, those charges are generally brought by the state. You could have state charges where a state prosecutor, traditionally a DA, would, or an AG, an attorney general for the state, would bring charges against a defendant for alleged crimes that they committed. That could also happen on the federal level, where a U.S. attorney would file criminal charges against the defendant, whether through a bill of information or an indictment, for the alleged crimes that they have committed. And then there's also, on the civil front, individuals or corporate entities can file suit against other individuals and businesses, or even the state, for acts that they committed with the hope of being made whole and getting some sort of monetary judgment. And it's not just limited to monetary judgments. In civil law, you could seek remedies such as a restraining order or an injunction, which pretty much results in the court ordering one party to stop and refrain from the acts that are causing harm to the other party. So with that said, we'll dive into the civil aspect of this rug pull. I guess we'll focus on DexTools. And as we can see here, this is the DexTools website, their homepage. It gives a little overview of what DexTools is. It says it's a real-time data analysis at the tips of your fingertips. It creates unique trading strategies, anticipate market movements, search for big spreads, track and copy the most profitable wallets, and much more. We can scroll down, just kind of gives a little overview of DeFi, the features, what they provide, the different plans that they pay for, that users can pay for, development roadmap. I guess they have their own token, the Dex token. Shows the team members, partner projects, and then we get down to the relevant stuff down here. This is the legal boilerplate disclaimer, if you will. Now, I searched through DexTools and I did a Google search to see if there were any bona fide terms of service, and I couldn't find anything. The closest thing that I could find to a terms of service or a disclaimer was this right here on the footer. And let's see what it says. Let's zoom in. It states, all content available on our website, on hyperlinked websites, and on applications, forums, blogs, social media accounts, and other platforms associated with DexTools is intended solely to provide you with general information. We make no warranties of any kind with respect to our content, including but not limited to the accuracy and currency of the information. None of the content we provide should be construed as financial, legal, or any other type of advice on which you may specifically rely for any purposes. Any use of reliance you place on our content is solely at your own risk. What you should do is conduct your own research, review, and analysis, and verify our content before relying on it. Trading is a high-risk activity that can result in significant losses. So, you should consult with your financial advisor before making any decisions. Nothing on our site should be considered an invitation or offer to take any action. My first impression of this statement, of this waiver, is that it's pretty straightforward. It's very express, it's very clear and precise in terms of what they are warranting and what this information is intended for. You've got statements in particular here. We make no warranties of any kind with respect to our content. I guess just to sum it up, this is use at your own risk. We're not liable for anything that you do with the information provided here. And that seems like a pretty rock solid disclaimer, if you will. Continuing on, I continued my search and I stumbled upon the DexTools manifesto here, and I couldn't find anything in here about any waivers of warranty or liability or anything like that, things related to a terms of service or whatnot. It's just kind of a general overview of their platform. It's the same thing on the actual DexTools app. I dug around in here and I couldn't find anything, at the bottom, in between the manifesto, the team, the contact, the about us, nothing about any terms of service other than a reprisal of that original waiver that we saw on the footer of the homepage. So with that said, I think that any potential lawsuit that would be filed against DexTools as a result of this rug pull and the exploit that happened on their platform that induced other people to buy into the rug pull, I think any lawsuits related to that would face a very high bar in terms of actually resulting in any sort of successful judgment being paid out. Surely, anybody that was affected by this, they could file suit against DexTools and actually initiate the litigation process, but I think it would be a very tough road for them to actually prevail on the merits of their case. I think that the applicable legal standards would not weigh in any plaintiff's favor. And further, I think it would be tough for any potential plaintiffs to eke out a settlement from DexTools as a result of the facts of this case. Just doing a couple thought exercises in my head, I'm trying to envision what a potential plaintiff would even sue based upon what their cause of action would be. I think that if they tried, they could maybe try to get some sort of negligence action against DexTools, and that would sound in tort law, and they could try to frame it, but for the negligence of DexTools in shoring up their code base, preventing this sort of exploit, I would not have bought into this rug pull, but that seems like it's a pretty high bar to even get to that point. There's also a potential to attract it under the arm of contract law, and I doubt that any potential plaintiff would be able to prove a breach of contract or any sort of contractual relationship between them and DexTools due in large part to this waiver right here. I mean, this would be the primary defense. It says it right here in black and white. We make no warranties of any kind with respect to our content. So, you'd have a pretty high bar trying to get past this defense if you were trying to attract it or attack it under a breach of contract action. Another point of note, I'm surprised that DexTools doesn't have any express language in their waiver or warranty down here regarding arbitration. A lot of times I've found with a lot of these big corporations, big tech companies, even places like Burger King, they'll try to force you into arbitration by including some sort of language on the products that state, by using this product, you agree to arbitration in lieu of actual litigation in the court system. And for those that are unaware, arbitration is a form of alternative dispute resolution, also known as ADR, and it's a way to resolve disputes outside the judiciary of the courts. The dispute will be decided by one or more persons, which renders the arbitration award, generally referred to as an independent arbitrator. And so one of the benefits to arbitration is that, I guess on behalf of the corporate defendants, is that it keeps a lot of the discovery and the litigation, the pleadings, outside of the public domain. And then it is also possible for the arbitrators to be more defendant friendly. And you're also removing the element of a jury, a jury of your peers. So when you have just normal, common, everyday folk, they probably would be more likely to decide with a plaintiff that looks and feels and acts just like them and has a similar sort of circumstance. If it's just a one-off arbitrator, that takes a lot of that power away from the jury and then weighs the balance of the scales in the favor of the corporate defendant. Now, touching back on some of the potential causes of action, I guess I'll just give a general overview of some causes of action that have been brought previously related to crypto-based lawsuits. This one in particular is from the Hex class action complaint. And in it, the plaintiffs allege a violation against the defendants for a private cause of action under the Commodity Exchange Act for manipulation of commodity prices and provisions of false, misleading, or knowingly inaccurate reports tending to affect the price of commodities. So as you can see here, it gives a general overview that U.S. law provides for a private right of action for those that violate this particular law, the Commodity Exchange Act. And it lays it out, the pertinent parts. It says that it's a violation for any person to manipulate or attempt to manipulate the price of any commodity in interstate commerce or knowingly deliver or cause to be delivered for transmission through all of these different means, misleading or knowingly inaccurate reports to affect the price of commodities. So a lot of what you see here, the first bar is, in my opinion, is actual knowledge. You actually have to have not just an overt act, but, actual knowledge and will to deliberately manipulate these prices. And I don't think we have that here. As we could see based on the facts of this case, there was an exploit, and it's not like DexTools deliberately manipulated these prices in order to defraud consumers and pump their bags. That didn't happen. So at best, it would be negligence. Now, another potential cause of action would be a violation of Consumer Fraud Acts. I know that the majority of the different states have some version of this type of Consumer Fraud Act. This one's taken particularly from Arizona, and it states it's unlawful under Arizona law for an entity to use or employ any person or deception, deceptive or unfair act or practice, fraud, false pretense, false promise, misrepresentation, concealment, suppression, or omission of any material fact with the intent that others rely on such concealment or suppression, yada yada, in connection with the sale, advertisement, or merchandise, whether or not any person, in fact, has been misled, deceived, or damaged thereby. And as you can see, the core of this law is the intent. And that's another missing element that we have here from this fact pattern. I think based on the facts of this case, there is a lack of intent. It is not like DexTools intentionally manipulated these prices and this listing or the verification status. At best, it's negligence. So, it would fail based on this regard. Now, turning to the criminal liability front, I know that the DOJ and various prosecutors in the states have prosecuted and continue to prosecute fraud and criminal acts related to cryptocurrencies. As we can see here from this press release by the Department of Justice, Deputy Attorney General Lisa O. Monaco announces National Cryptocurrency Enforcement Team. So we can see that cryptos are on their radar, and they do prosecute and have prosecuted criminal acts related to cryptocurrencies. The problem is that it is difficult and time-consuming. It takes a lot of time and energy and effort in order to gather all of the facts necessary to properly prosecute one of these cases. I was a former prosecutor myself, so I know just how labor-intensive it is to actually build a case. Further, there's also the issue of anonymity that the rug pullers employed. They used Tornado Cash to onboard and then offboard their fiat, or not the fiat rather, but the coins that they eventually rug pulled, the wrapped ether. So that throws up a roadblock. A lot of times, like we've seen with the pipeline hack, the government was able to track down and locate those hackers due in large part to the fact that they operated on the immutable public ledger that is the Bitcoin blockchain. So they were able to trace the funds and where they went. You can't do that with a privacy coin like Tornado Cash. So that is a hurdle that they'd have to overcome. Furthermore, I think that any criminal liability, it wouldn't be on DexTools because, like we said before, their role for their part, they just exhibited negligence at best by having faulty code that was able to be exploited. The real liability would be on the rug pullers. That's where the real criminal liability is. So all of that considered, I think that this pretty much provides a good general overview of the legal ramifications of this particular case. And if you guys enjoyed watching this video, we love making them for you. Please, if you like this content, drop us a like, hit the subscribe button, and please drop us a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Follow us on Twitter. We are at CryptoBitLaw, and we hope to see you guys in the next video. Thanks again.